Hook, spoken directly to the viewers, asterisk. The judge leaned forward. The lawyers froze, asterisk. Every eye in the courtroom turned, as a tiny girl raised her hand and gave a simple gesture to her dog. And what happened next? Asterisk. It silenced the room. Then made it erupt in tears, asterisk. You won't believe how one little girl, one loyal dog, and one hidden signal unraveled a lie no one else could catch. Asterisk. If you believe in courage, loyalty, and the quiet power of love, please like this video and subscribe to Everyday Grace. We tell the stories that the world forgets, but hearts never do. Part 1. The Silent Witness, asterisk. They called her Ellie, just 7 years old. Hair the color of wheat fields in July, and eyes too old for someone so young, asterisk. She sat in the courtroom with her feet barely touching the floor, clutching a small, well-worn stuffed rabbit in one hand, and watching the door with quiet hope, asterisk, beside her sat Duke, a golden retriever with thick fur, kind eyes, and a scar across his front paw. He wore a red vest that read service dog. But his role in Ellie's life was far deeper than that, asterisk. You see, Ellie hadn't spoken since the night everything changed, asterisk. The night her mother cried herself to sleep, asterisk. The night the police came, asterisk. The night Ellie saw something no child should ever have to witness, asterisk. Since then, her world had been locked inside. She stopped talking, stopped laughing. The only one she still trusted was Duke, asterisk. Her grandmother Miriam had taken her in after the tragedy. A kind woman with soft hands and tired eyes, she begged every specialist, teacher, and therapist to help Ellie speak again. But nothing worked except Duke, asterisk. That golden dog seemed to understand Ellie in ways no adult could. She had trained him herself, with tiny gestures and hidden signals. A raised finger meant danger. A tapped knee meant comfort me. A slow hand across the chest meant tell them it's not true, asterisk. And those signals would soon change everything. Part 2. The trial, asterisk. The courtroom was packed that morning. Reporters, lawyers, strangers, asterisk. At the center of it all stood a man named Rick, Dalton, Ellie's late mother's boyfriend, asterisk. He stood tall and confident in his crisp suit. He claimed innocence. Claimed he was out the night Ellie's mother died. Claimed Ellie was confused, traumatized, making it up, asterisk. There's no proof I was even near the house that night, he said, asterisk. And since Ellie refused to speak, the case was crumbling, but the prosecution had one last hope. They called Ellie to the stand, not to speak, but simply to be present, asterisk. They hoped her presence might soften the jury, or even rattle Rick, asterisk. Ellie walked in slowly, holding Duke's leash tightly. The room fell silent. She didn't speak, asterisk. She didn't look at Rick, asterisk. She simply sat and stared at the floor, asterisk. Then came the cross-examination. Rick's lawyer pushed the idea that Ellie was confused, that her trauma had rewritten her memories, that children often fill in the blanks, asterisk. And as they spoke, Rick smirked, asterisk. A small, cruel smirk, just for a second, and Ellie saw it. She didn't move, didn't cry, but she slowly raised her hand and made a strange, fluid gesture across her chest. The judge leaned forward. What was that? Someone whispered, asterisk. And Duke, sweet, loyal Duke, stood up, walked forward, and barked once, twice, then sat down facing Rick. The room froze. The prosecution attorney blinked, asterisk. What does that mean? He asked Miriam. Miriam stepped forward, tears in her eyes. She taught Duke that signal, she said. When she sees the man who hurt her mom, she gives it. He only barks when she's sure, when she remembers. Asterisk. The courtroom erupted. The judge called for order. Rick's smirk vanished. He knew he'd been seen. Not with words, but with truth. A child's truth. Part 3. The truth uncovered, asterisk. That moment opened everything, asterisk. The police re-examined phone logs. Security camera footage from a nearby gas station placed Rick near the house at the time of the crime. Mud from his shoes matched the soil from Ellie's backyard, asterisk. He had lied, but Ellie hadn't. The silent girl and her dog had done what no lawyer could, asterisk. They told the truth. With love, loyalty, and a secret signal, asterisk. Rick was arrested. The trial reopened, and within weeks, justice was served, asterisk, but the real miracle? Ellie spoke, not in the courtroom. Not right away, but that night, back home, while brushing Duke's fur, she whispered one word. Safe. Miriam dropped the dishes she was holding and ran to her. Ellie repeated it, asterisk, safe, asterisk, then, thank you. Asterisk. From that day on, her words came back slowly. Not all at once, but like spring after a long, cold winter. Her world began to bloom again. She started going to school, making friends. She and Duke became something of a legend in their small town, a little girl who said nothing, but whose truth shook an entire courtroom. The message asterisk, dear viewer. Sometimes the loudest truth is spoken in silence. Sometimes the bravest voices come from those who've been hurt the most, asterisk, and sometimes love wears fur, wags its tail, and barks at evil when the world won't. Asterisk. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Everyday Grace. Asterisk. We share real, emotional, and inspiring stories that remind us all there's still good in the world. Asterisk. Let's keep that light shining. One story at a time.